He's one of 18 black roasters
right? Like,
in the U.S. And we're like, well, 18
Yeah.
in the United States? That's it?
And it almost felt as if he knew the other 17.
Right.
Number 3 of
What's Brewing, Sis?
I'm Shelly.
I'm Bianca.
And I'm Deonna. And here we come together to serve the brew.
Yeah.
We are so glad you guys came to join us for episode 3. I hope you guys are loving the video so far. If this is your first time here, or if you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribe, hit like, share it with your friends and family. We would definitely love to communicate with you through the chat. So definitely in the chat, leave your comments, your questions, and those we can't get to in the chat, we will make sure to answer it on the next episode. So we have another question from Carolyn, and at this point, we're going to call this Carolyn's Corner.
Carolyn's Corner. Okay, Carolyn, you got your own segment because we love your comments and we appreciate the questions.
Definitely.
They are thought-provoking. You know, it gets us into a great conversation, so we appreciate that. So
Thanks,
keep them
Carolyn.
coming because now you got a segment.
It's Carolyn's Corner.
It's Carolyn's Corner. So Carolyn's question was, being an older person, how would you suggest going about meeting friends with the goal to have friendship goals?
And that's a really good question. And as I was thinking about it, the obvious answer I had was through work.
Right.
You know, back in the day, which really isn't back in the day, it was 2 years ago before the pandemic.
It was like 2 months.
Right. You used to go into the office, you find somebody you have common interests with and go to lunch and maybe meet for cocktails and, you know, become friends that way. But now with the pandemic and everyone transitioning to working from home, what do you guys think? How do you make friends?
I say if you have a hobby, you know, find people who are into doing that hobby so you can, you know, kind of get with like-minded people or get with someone that enjoys what you do. It can spark a conversation, and I think that's a great way to kind of meet new people. So
yeah, that's good. I also think if we are sticking with virtual ways to meet people, you can join groups on Facebook. Basically, same thing, whether it's a hobby or personality trait. Like I belong to introverted girls. There's also
I didn't know
I need that girl.
but there's like tons of different groups. So you know, there's that as an option as well.
Yeah, I think both of those are really good options. As Shelly said, I would suggest joining a group. So if you're into photography, you can always search online, find a photography group that'll meet in person, and maybe you'll find someone that way, or join a gym. You can meet people in exercise class that could be your workout buddy that might transition into a friendship. But also, a lot of older people are now becoming friends with their children because, you know, their children are, you know, in their 30s or 20s or whatever,
now to have that type
40s, and they're adults now. So now a lot of older people are transitioning into a new relationship with their children where they're now friends and can do stuff, travel, and, you know, enjoy life together as a different dynamic in their relationship. So it's a lot of different ways to do that.
I enjoy hanging out with my parents like on a weekend. They are just absolutely hilarious together. But, you know, I think that I would hope at this point that they could see, you know, my maturity and want to hang out with me too. And it definitely seems like it. So I definitely think that's a good idea. Becoming friends with your parents and having that type of friendship relationship.
Yeah, so thank you, Carolyn, for that question.
Yeah. Thanks, Carolyn.
Keep them coming. We definitely appreciate them.
We got a segment now. We got a
we ain't got to pay her.
Oh, boy.
I'm not trying to be cheap about that. But definitely, that was a very fun question. I'm glad you asked it, but we'll look forward to any
More.
question and comment.
Can I take Carolyn's question just a little bit deeper? What
Yeah.
do you guys think about meeting new people? Like, just off, if let's say the pandemic didn't happen, and is it easy to meet new people who aren't coworkers?
So I'm just gonna only speak for me.
Okay.
I am. It takes me a little bit longer to open up to new people.
Mm-hmm.
So when new people are around, it's kind of like I'm not talking to them. I don't know them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm more of an observer when I come into a meeting a new person. I'll observe them, see what jokes I can say, what I can't say.
Yeah.
Just kind of get to know them before I actually become friendly
Mm-hmm.
with them. I take the word friend very seriously, so I just don't call everyone my friend.
Right.
I'm more like, oh, she's cool, or I associate with that person, or we hung out a few times before I allow you to become my friend.
Yeah.
So, but I think the crazy thing about me is I end up meeting people who, like, almost make me be their friend. So, like, from each, job I've worked at, I've gained friends from it that, normally I go in like, okay, they cool. They just my coworker. When I log out, that's it for the day.
Yeah. It's different when you can sit down and have lunch with somebody and, find that the commonality of just like being friends with one another. So yeah, that's good. But I was curious to see, have you guys made any new recent friends just based off of meeting them, and is it easy? Is it an easy process?
So I would say for me, I've always been a person who makes new
friends
friends,
all the time.
but
all the
I
time.
don't necessarily initiate that initial conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's hard for me to like spark a conversation with someone, but if someone talks to me, then I'm very open, very transparent, and I think I'm easy to talk to, and I'm open to the idea of making new friends. And every place I've been, whether it's for work, social groups, or whatever, I do tend to make good, long-lasting friendships.
I'm trying to get better.
She makes a lot of friends.
Deanna has a lot of
Like,
friends.
but real, true friendship, though.
Yeah. It's harder for me because I trust no one.
Okay.
I try to be a little bit. I am an introvert.
You're an introvert?
Is it extrovert?
Yeah.
Extrovert?
I don't know. Are you saying you're like me, that more
Internal,
not outgoing?
Yeah. So
okay.
that's in and not
introvert.
Okay, yeah. So I'm definitely an introvert. You don't think I am? Oh, I definitely am. I get nervous.
She could be an extroverted introvert. There's a thing. You could be an
Mm.
extroverted introvert, meaning you're an introvert, but in certain social situations, you become more extroverted.
Yeah, because if I'm like kind of pushed into a situation, then I know, people kind of, they like me and they're like, oh, okay, she's really nice, and then it's like, okay, well, let me be your friend. But it's hard. Like, it's hard to kind of bring someone into your circle because you're kind of nervous. You don't know what that person will kind of be like. So for me, it's tougher. So
I mean, I can definitely see that. I think I share some of those commonalities where it's like, okay, what should I say? Like, I hold my cards a lot. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to share all of this with this person until I get to know them. And then I'll share a little bit more and a little bit more until next thing I know, we're like, oh, we're going to meet up for dinner. Right. It's like, oh, you're my friend now. So,
I want to do that. I definitely want to do better with that. Like, if someone new comes along, it's like, this could be a new friend. This could spark up something new. So, that's
it could happen. Yeah. At any age. So, definitely, Carolyn, don't be afraid to make new friends, regardless of your age group. There's someone out there for everyone. So,
just be open.
Just be open. Yep. So, one topic I wanted to bring up, as you guys can see, we have on our Juneteenth shirts here. So coming up in the next couple of days, after you view this video, will be Juneteenth. Juneteenth is on June 19th.
Yep.
which also shares the date with Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to talk a little bit about Juneteenth first, and then we'll get into Father's Day as well. But Deonna, for those who don't know.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, although it has definitely grown recently in the last few years, popularity around Juneteenth, but it's the holiday to celebrate the end of slavery in the U.S. It's also called Emancipation Day or Juneteenth Independence Day because it references the date combining the words June and
the 19th. Yeah.
Yes, but basically Texas was the last state to
emancipate the
slaves. I can't say emancipate. I can't
emancipate.
It's okay now. I got you.
Take her back.
Emancipate. Yes, it was the last state to emancipate the slaves.
The slaves were initially emancipated January 1st of 1863. I keep saying that. 1863, and then Texas did it when
1865. So June of 1865. So 3 years, a little over 3 years later. Yeah.
So, so it's gained traction, and, that's basically what Juneteenth is. And there's been celebrations over the years, but I feel like it's been a lot quieter. But as we were talking about this topic, Deonna made a really good point that after the George Floyd murder, was when it became a little bit more popular, I think, or more mainstream. I'm just going to say more mainstream.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I think for me, I've heard of Juneteenth before the last 3 years, but I didn't know really what it was, and it wasn't really widely celebrated anywhere near me.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Same here. Like I heard nothing about it. And then after George Floyd, I started hearing a little bit more about it, and then we celebrated it.
Yeah, we did.
So it kind of went from hearing nothing to actually it being a day that we kind of make sure that we celebrate now. So yeah.
So for me, I did know about Juneteenth growing up, and I think it was because I had someone in my family that was directly involved in the celebration of, and we would go to parades. So actually, there's a parade in Chicago every year in the South Shore area that is celebration of Juneteenth. So it's like, I guess, but if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah, that area of Chicago always seems to be very
cultural. Yeah, so I did grow up knowing about Juneteenth, and I did, I've gone to the parade, and there's family pictures of my uncle and cousin participating in it. I would say as a young kid, I didn't really fully know what it was about. I just knew we were going to a parade, but as I got older, I understood.
Yeah,
I feel like in Chicago, because Chicago is so culturally diverse, you'll find a lot of different celebrations for different cultures.
Yeah.
But growing up and living in the suburbs, even though we lived in a predominantly black suburb growing up, I feel like what we learned was based on the adults around us.
Absolutely.
So, there was a big focus on Black History Month in our school. So we learned most of our Black history that we learned was because of the teachers that we had. Now transition to my son, who went to some of the same elementary schools. The teachers there looked less like us, so he didn't learn as much Black history facts as we did in the same elementary schools. So I feel like it's based on where you are and who's in proximity to you is how you learn things.
Absolutely.
And that's unfortunate. I feel like if we are taught about all these different wars every year from K through high school, why can't we throw a little Juneteenth or a little John Baptiste Point de Sable in there? Why we can't throw a little bit of, all type of different cultures in there, so we learn not only just about our culture, but other cultures outside of what's pushed in the history books.
Right.
So,
and it almost kind of, to me, feels like it's been, do you think it's that way because it just was presented as like something to kind of push underneath the table, like let's really look at Emancipation Proclamation and not really care too much about what happened in the state of Texas, and that the state of Texas was a little behind. Do you think it had anything to do with that? Or
I think it's just, Black history in general is kind of glossed over.
Yeah.
In most communities, unfortunately you might hear about Martin Luther King, and that's about it.
Right.
You'll get Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, and maybe Malcolm X.
Yeah.
But it's like,
do you guys struggle at all with the topic? I find that I do, but I'm curious to know, do you guys struggle with the fact that it's like, sometimes I feel like we're celebrating something that doesn't deserve a celebration? You know what I mean? Like, while the slaves were free, it's like that should have never even happened. So it's kind of like, we're celebrating freedom, but it was like we should have already had that. So I sometimes struggle with, celebrating it, and I almost wonder, did that play a part into why it's just kind of like the George Floyd situation happened, and now we're like celebrating it? Is it kind of just like a Band-Aid on a bigger wound?
Oh, that's a good question. So I hear where you're going with that, right? Yes, slavery should have never happened. That shouldn't have been a thing. However, I feel that people being freed is something to celebrate. For because,
sure.
What if Texas never freed the slaves? What if that never happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What if the northern states wanted us to still be slaves? You know what I mean? So it's definitely something to celebrate, even though it's a crazy thing to celebrate. It's still something to celebrate.
Yeah, I struggle with it every year, and I get it, because I love to see the flags. I love to see people celebrate. I love to wear my Juneteenth shirt, because I'm actually supporting a local business. But it's like, I want to celebrate it, but I kind of just feel sometimes not a bit of guilt, but just this weird feeling of this should have never even happened.
Right.
So,
I think it's a bittersweet celebration. Because so many lives were lost, and the Black family was destroyed.
And it's like still an impact.
Yeah, there's the impact is still here. So and we're still facing disparities and discrimination and hatred, and so it is like, that's why some of the shirts say free-ish since 1865, because there's still injustice and there's still discrimination towards African Americans. So there's that.
It's tough. It's definitely something that I feel like I can't even necessarily put the word proud next to the, so it's just, I don't know, it's just something that I think I need to sit with a little bit longer. One, I'm gonna celebrate when everybody's celebrating. I feel like, yes, I want to be,
I think it's just that we still have a long way to go, and it's crazy that from 1865 we still have a long way to go.
We definitely do still have a long way to go, but I want here's why I want to celebrate it. I want to celebrate it, and I don't know if I should apologize for my thoughts, but I'm just gonna put it out there. I feel like this country was built on immigrants, and
it still is being built on immigrants.
It's still being built on immigrants, whether you were voluntarily immigrated or involuntarily immigrated here. This country is built on immigrants. I feel like American culture is our culture. We own a piece of that. We own a piece of history. We own a piece of culture. We own a piece of America, and we should not shy away from that. I feel like we should celebrate our independence, because even though we were slaves, look where a lot of us are now.
Absolutely, but I think it's what really is tough for me, and I'm like, I gotta keep remembering to think of this. I think because when we were freed, we still died on trees.
We did.
All of that.
And just so many years,
by guns.
And that's basically exactly what you said. But it's just like, it's hard when you go from what happened to our people. I just find it, I don't know, I almost wish that we were celebrating the fact that our people are so strong and survive that.
Well,
like
we are.
right.
Yeah.
That's part of
sure.
it.
Yeah. But I also feel like what's being handed to us is this. You are free. Well, no, we weren't. You know what I mean? No, we truly weren't. So, it's just.
But that isn't even being handed to us because a lot of cultures outside of ours won't even talk about Juneteenth.
Right.
It's like, let's sweep this under the rug. Let's not talk about this.
Right.
We don't want to. It's uncomfortable.
And
Even
there's people who say, like, get over it. Like, how long are you guys going to talk about slavery and all that? But
as
it's
long
like,
as everyone else talk about their disparities, we're going to talk about slavery.
Right. You know, so it's
that.
like, and because the impacts are still present.
They are still present.
I feel like it's weird to still say, Obama was the first black president.
And there's still a lot of black.
We keep having
first black female, first black this or that. Yeah.
So until we stop having the first, second, or third black anything, then we're gonna keep talking about it, guys. And also,
which is kind of bringing this around to why we went. This was also played a major part in us going into business together because we want to change that narrative.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of walking into a first with what we're doing, which is okay. But I think that if we don't do it, then who will?
Yeah.
And something crazy we learned about a local roaster we talked to and we, would love to work with, was like he's one of 18 black roasters
right? Like,
in the U.S. And we're like, 18? In the United States? That's it?
And it almost felt as if he knew the other 17.
Right. It's like, I know.
We're small community.
Right. But I think that even more so plays a major role. And I know we're going to do a lot of God talking on this podcast too, but that played a major role because everything just seems to just be a domino and falling into the right places.
Yeah.
To where who would think 3 black women opening up a coffee shop would literally meet one of the 18 black coffee roasters and are working on a deal. You know what I mean? It's just like it's a great feeling to be in this spot. But I think for me, I just have a hard time with feeling like someone's handing something over to me. Like you didn't give
we're
me.
taking it.
We're taking it. I like that.
So I want to change the narrative where it's like, they're giving this to us, or they won't let us have, or they're in the way of, and it's like, you know what? Yes. We are not in control of a lot of things, and we have to be double as good as the next in order to be recognized. And then for women, black women, we have to be even better than that to get a seat at the table. But now I feel like we need to start making our own tables. We need to get our own nails, our own wood, build our own tables, and make them come try to get a seat at ours. You know what I mean? So I feel like I want to change the narrative where it's not that they're giving it to us, we're taking it. We're stepping into our own light to take our rightful place as part of American history. We are here. Yeah. Whether we came here on our own or was brought over here as a guest, if you want to call it that.
I don't want to call
it that. Or, whatever you want to call it. We own a part of this. Yeah, we own a part of this country. We own a part of this history. It's ours. And I'm not going to let anyone make us feel like we're lesser than, because we're part of American history.
Right. Yep. And I definitely feel like with this business, for me, I feel like we are setting ourselves up to be just that, the table, at the head of the table, making the best decisions for our company. You know what I mean? Making sure that everyone's included in decisions that are being made. So I'm just so happy that we are doing this. But yeah.
Yes. So happy Juneteenth, everybody.
Happy Juneteenth.
However you celebrate, whether it is going, out grilling, or
supporting a black business,
supporting a black business, or just learning more about the topic. Read books, do your research.
Absolutely.
And I want to welcome people who are not black to
Celebrate Juneteenth.
Yeah. You don't have, it's not an awkward thing to celebrate Juneteenth if you're not Black. It's not awkward to learn about the topic more. It's not awkward to be an ally.
You know, and remember when we went to the restaurant last year celebrating Juneteenth? Me and Bianca were Juneteenth out. We had all the clothes and the colors. we did it up for Juneteenth last year. And there was actually a white gentleman that walked up to us and was like, I love what you guys are doing. Yeah. And, you know, for a minute, I was like, what? No.
Right. It was weird. It's like, what you mean?
Right. But in all actuality, like, that was a great feeling.
It was.
See, you know.
Yeah. And, you know, it was more than him. It was another group that chatted with us. And it was like, I feel like people are more wanting to learn more or understand more or just be involved. So that's a great thing.
Yeah, there are definitely people who are taking responsibility to educate themselves because there was like some initial feeling of pandering or, you know, other races looking for African Americans to educate them. But yes, if you take the responsibility to educate yourself, then that is a progressive step.
Yeah. Google.
Yeah.
Google, guys.
Your
Google
best
works.
friend.
Like,
I would say too, you know, watch videos on YouTube. There's so many, you know, about it. And I think people are giving their honest opinion about what they feel about it, but it's a great way to also learn more about the topic. And I would say what I love the most about Juneteenth is to see people that look like me celebrating something.
Yeah.
So I would even say, if, you know, maybe you don't agree with the topic, or maybe you don't agree, you kind of feel the way I feel in some sense of it. But if there's a chance where you can celebrate with people that look like you, and it's something other than what the narrative that's painted, do it.
And have a good time celebrating.
And have a good time. Like, if it's, what I love seeing is other cultures who fly their flags, you know, like the Puerto Rican.
The Puerto Rican Day Parade last year. It was so exciting. It happened to fall on Juneteenth as well.
Yeah.
And we were just out and just watching everyone celebrate. They were driving down the streets with their flags. It was so much fun just to see it. I love that. I love to see other cultures celebrate, and I want them to love to see us celebrate as well and have a good time. And it was good natured. You know, at least where we were, it was definitely good natured.
It was.
Everyone had a good time. So definitely celebrate however you want to. But there's a lot more to celebrate this weekend as well. So Juneteenth actually falls on Father's Day.